the recording, you'll have about 30 seconds of silence. Okay, it is 6 p.m. Pacific time. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to this month's complimentary conference call. At this moment, everybody on the line is muted.
You are now muted.
And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Thomas Kuster. I am the founder and director of the Stages of Love, which, by the way, starting in January of 2018, the company name will change to the Quantum Evolution, which will include the Stages of Love, the Heart Shift, and the Quantum Shift. So good evening, everybody. And how the call goes, I'll generate a conversation. And tonight's conversation is called Full Moments, F-U-L-L, Full Moments. And I'll generate some things around full moments and what I say that they are, and give you an opportunity to think some things through, and hopefully something will get stimulated where you are that you'll be able to share or interact with me so that we can make some pretty important points, given the purpose of this call is to elevate your relationships to the next level, whatever that level might be for you. So what is a full moment? Well, some of you who have done courses with me over the years may remember me creating this distinction with you called a full moment. So what is it? Well, a full moment is an actual moment in time, a real thing happening, a past event, a memory, something that you can see in your mind's eye, and in that moment, you had the experience of being full. Full of what? You had the experience of being full of gratitude, full of appreciation. You may have even had the experience of being full of love, however that might feel for you experientially. So if you just take a look back, give yourself a moment to reflect and just think back over the years of those moments in time when you experienced being full. Keep thinking. I'm going to share with you a couple of mine. I'm going to try not to share the same ones that I almost always share because they are my favorites, but I have a number of them that, come up for me because as I work with couples and I coach individuals and work with them, I train people in the Bliss Point exercise, and the Bliss Point always starts with generating full moments. And so a full moment that I can remember, I was a little boy, I think it's around the 3rd grade in Catholicism that you get what's called confirmed. I think so. And I had my confirmation. And I remember, it's very traditional and a big ritual. And by the way, as a kid, I was really into that. I loved tradition and I loved rituals, so it was really cool for me. But the full moment was I got to the front of the church and we all lined up across where we could see out. And I saw in one pew my mother, my father, my grandmother, my aunt, a couple of my uncles, all of my younger brothers. And I remember being touched deeply, even as a child, at how incredible it was that these people showed up for me. And I was full of appreciation and full of gratitude. So much so that even in this moment, I can feel it wash over my body. So that's one. Another time was my mom and my dad flew to California to meet me, and we had breakfast together, and there had been a number of things on my mind that I wanted to share with my parents. And one thing that I wanted to give them like a gift was at this breakfast. And I was sitting across from them, and it was just the three of us, and I looked at them and I said, I wanted to have breakfast with you this morning alone, specifically because I wanted to tell you how happy I am. Like, I am a happy man, and you got your job done, and you don't ever have to worry about me. And both mom and dad were moved, and their eyes became glassy. And of course, I was moved because it was very important to me that I never became or seemed like a burden for my mom and dad, that they ever had to worry if I was happy or how my life was. I wanted them to know deeply that they did a great job and that I was a very happy man. And so I was full. And the beautiful part of that full moment that I want each of you to capture is that this full moment was shared. So when I generated the moment, it didn't just give me a full moment. It generated something for both mom and dad, and something that we will carry with us for the rest of our lives. It will never disappear. Now, it might have to get stimulated again, like I just stimulated it, and it's washed over my body again. So another minute or so for you to consider a full moment that you might remember. And I'm going to unmute the lines. I'm not going to ask you to share yet because I really am going to shut up so you have a moment that you can really think of a full moment in your life that you'd be willing to share.
You are now unmuted.
So if anybody is ready, very easy to share. All you have to do is just say your first name, and I'll call on you, and just share whatever comes to mind. And if you need my help to reach back and look, I'll do that.
This is Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
For some people may know this, but not too many. I have a daughter who just turned 30, and a few years ago, she decided to kind of pretty much fall off the face of the earth. She had been a heroin addict, and she was trying to get sober, and she had a boyfriend that was an addict, and she felt like she was a real disappointment to the family. So she just kind of disappeared, and nobody really knew where she was. So for about a year, I had no idea where my daughter was or if she was alive or, you know, what her circumstances were. And I got a phone call one day saying that she had called a family member and she was in the area. And I got her phone number and we talked. And the moment when I met her, she met me at a place. I had to go pick up my grandson that day, and she met me there. And to see her completely sober and healthy and just absolutely beautiful. And it was such a full moment of gratitude. My gratitude was so great that she was alive and she was well and she'd gotten herself sober, and she's still sober to this day now. So,
Wow.
It's been wonderful. But yeah, that's probably the most feeling of gratitude that I've ever had in my life. And it was just really powerful and beautiful and completely full. I was completely full.
Nice. That's great, Cheryl. No, I don't think I ever knew that. That's
I may not have ever
great
had the
story.
chance to talk to you. Yeah, so
Wow.
thank you.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Somebody else. A full moment. Okay. Cheryl, it might just be you and I don't know. But anyhow, I'm going to pause. I'm going to put you on the mute, and we'll continue.
You are now muted.
So if you look back and you consider a full moment, and I know there's a number of people that have told me that, they have a hard time sharing on these calls, and that's fine. I've got nothing going on about that, really. I just want each and every one of you to get value out of being here. So even if you don't share, make sure you're looking back in time for yourself and capturing some moment. You have one. If it's hard for you to think back in this moment, I get it, because it may not be right there present for you. Some people tell me that when their children were born, they had a full moment then. Their grandchildren, Raphael and I had the opportunity to go to Chicago for Easter and meet who would be my step-great-grandson. Camilo is his name. They call him Cam and Milo. They call him a bunch of different things. What a beautiful baby. But I remember we got there. I had no relationship to the child. And then I got there, and I'm completely related to the child. And it was such a full moment. So when you have these kinds of moments, just like when Cheryl shared and when I shared, you can hear that we feel it. It's not the moment that we feel. It's the human being over there that we feel. So for Cheryl, she felt her daughter. There was a heart-to-heart connection. The heart-to-heart connection is critical to the full moment, by the way. When I saw my family in the pew in the church and got that they were there for me, there was a connection to each one of them. I felt them. I felt them deeply. So now consider that maybe that feeling them is not a feeling like emotion, though emotions get evoked, but you feel them. You get connected at the level of soul. So let's talk now, because we're going to move this conversation from any kind of relationship, and we're going to now move it to intimate relationships or close relationships, close friends, close family members. And I want you to consider this conversation that's in our culture called soulmate. I'm looking for my soulmate. He or she is my soulmate, etc. We relate to soulmate like it's something that is, I don't know if innate is quite the right word, but I want you to try on that soulmates are generated. And how you generate them is getting very good at developing and generating full moments versus the full moments happening by accident. So think about, if you're in love, think of the one you're in love with. And if you are not in love, but you have a close friend or close family member that you'd like to use this exercise for, think of them. And just notice that when you think of this person, the first thing that generally shows up is everything that's in the way of the soul-to-soul connection. So, I'm thinking right now of my spouse, and when I think of him, the first thing that comes up is every possible irritation or annoyance or anything that isn't fitting my pictures of perfection. Now, I want to be very clear that I'm saying that to you so you can really look at the reality of relationships, and I want you to know that for me, it is not so right now. I would not get on this call with you having these kinds of conversations, having not already done the work necessary to have no distance between my heart and his heart. Soulmate is present. But I also want you to know that it's generated. And the question becomes, how do we generate it? So the first thing to acknowledge is many times how you feel soul to soul accidentally is during extreme happiness or extreme pain. Like, for instance, when Cheryl saw her daughter, there was extreme happiness. And that extreme happiness was on top of extreme pain. The fact that she hadn't seen her, didn't know where she was, didn't even know if she was alive, etc. So there was a combination. So that amplifies the experience of heart to heart. So if you think of your mate or your friend or family member during a period of extreme happiness, you see a twinkle in them. You see a true essence of them. You see the soul in them. And it's important, especially intimate relationships, to get very much in touch with that. Because you see, that can get lost in the day-to-day. And you and I want to keep that flame alive. We want to see the soul of our mate. And we want to touch that. How do you touch it? Well, make certain that you have some sense of your mate's love language. So if you go to my website and go to my blog, you can search for the Rhythms of the Heart. And it distinguishes the 5 love languages there. And then, of course, there's the book, The 5 Love Languages. That one of the things I noticed about studying the rhythms or the languages is that it will ignite more thinking where you can expand beyond the 5 and you start to make it a little more personal. For me, my love language is to be listened to. So it's very important in my relationship, if I have something to say, that I know not only am I being heard with ears, but that I'm literally being listened to in its totality. Very important to me. And when I don't have that, there becomes some distance. It's very subtle. And that distance subtly gets bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, there's a gap. You want to train yourself in ongoingly removing, eliminating any distance between the two of you. And how you do that is you stop Well, you stop what? Well, you stop any action. You let go of anything you're trying to be right about, even if you are. You let it go, not to be wrong, but to be neutral. And you get eye to eye and you express anything in the way, not for an argument, but as an opportunity to clear the space so that you can be in touch once again, heart to heart. So now, if you will, just take a look and see what's showing up for you in this moment. I'm going to open the line. I'm going to give you an opportunity to share anything. It may be directly connected to this conversation. It may have gotten stimulated by this conversation. However it is for you, it doesn't matter. I'd like, excuse me, I'd like to hear your voice, and I'm going to unmute.
You are now unmuted.
So you're now unmuted. Just say your first name, and I'll call on you, and we'll have a little conversation. So Cheryl, it may very well be just you and I don't know. You know, I don't necessarily ask people to let me know if they're going to be on or not.
Okay.
But if it is just you and I, that would be a rarity. But it is going to be posted and recorded, and there's nothing you have to. And listen, there's nothing you have to put in unless you want to. The points are being made, and I think they're clear. Do you find them clear?
Yes.
Okay, so you're clear about what a full moment is.
Yes.
And now your job, and anybody listening to this recording or anybody who happens to be on the call and you're not going to say anything, your job now is to practice on a daily basis generating full moments. Now consider this. What kind of life would you have if you on purpose, day by day, on purpose, connected, heart to heart, generated full moments? How would life be?
Well, the first word that comes to mind would be full.
It would be full, right?
Full, yeah. It
would be so full. And in order to have that discipline in action day to day, the access is practicing eliminating distance. Isn't it true, Cheryl? I mean, something happens, and if it feels a little too petty, maybe you don't mention it. Maybe you don't do the work to get it out of the way. And then before you know it, you might be avoiding someone or feeling like they're avoiding you, whatever the case may be. If it's an intimate relationship, you might notice that, like for me, I have to be very careful because if I trip on I'm not being listened to, if I'm not quick to catch it, I will put distance in the relationship before I even know it. I mean, and it happens right before my eyes. The good news is I'm a relationships and couples coach. So I'm dealing with couples and individuals every single day. So I get alerted, like I can see it immediately. I'm working with a couple and I'm supporting them and reducing distance between the two of them, and immediately I can see my own. And therefore I get finished and I immediately go and take care of it. So I have that benefit. Not everybody has that. I recommend you put something in place, to stimulate the ritual. Yeah, very good. So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say I have those, moments with coworkers, especially if it's a supervisor, and I've made a complaint about something, at work, the schedule, and then they'll respond in a supervisor sort of a way, and then I realize, this is not going to go anywhere other than an argument that's never going to have a conclusion. So I'm just going to suck it up. You know, she's
Yeah.
the supervisor, and I'm the employee, and that's okay. I'm over it. You know. So,
Right, right.
So yeah, I have those moments, you know, at work, and of course with customers, and you know, the whole thing. So I kind of all day have off and on those moments.
Wow.
You know.
Good.
Some are very full. They're, you know, really even just with a stranger. Like you said, you can connect with someone that you're not blood related to quite easily, really.
That's right.
So yeah, those moments I really do cherish. You know, especially when they come from nowhere, when you don't see it
right.
coming, you know.
Right. Yeah, me too. Yeah, well,
so
I'm going to bring the call to a conclusion. And what I'd like to announce is, first of all, this Thursday, which is May 25th, I will be producing the Heart Shift in North Lake Tahoe in Incline, California. And on August 12th, now I'm also going to be in San Francisco, I'm going to be in San Jose, and then I'm going to be back in Sacramento in July. But I'll announce those later. But the big event that I'm doing August 12th is the Quantum Shift, and it is a full-day workshop on August 12th, which is a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., with 3 follow-up webinars. And I highly recommend everybody do this program if you can. It is a breakthrough. It is scheduled at the DoubleTree.
Okay.
And you and I should talk offline about it, because I want to make it available for you. And we'll have that conversation. But it's an amazing, really off the charts, will rock your world event.
Awesome.
So,
looking forward to it.
So with that, next month, the 3rd Sunday of the month, will be our next complimentary call. A text message reminder will go out on the Friday before. I don't generally send out emails anymore, but I might. But there will at least be the text message. And I'm assuming that you got that text message. Is that right, Cheryl?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't usually do much email, so yeah, texting is awesome.
Perfect. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you for being here. For anybody else who's out there that I didn't hear from, thank you for being on the call. And for those of you who are viewing the video and listening to the recording, thank you for your participation. And good night.
Thank you, Thomas. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.